1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
1. No, it's working.
Yeah. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I feel like I say this every week. It is always great to be able to welcome Shabbat. And it is great to be able to be here with friends and family, people who are not yet friends but are soon to become our friends. It is so great to be able to get to this day and get to this moment and be able to take a deep breath. It's been a long week, and we finally come to Shabbat, and we're able to just breathe and really be able to recognize what a gift that is. And so in order to really feel like we're able to greet Shabbat, I always feel like the best way to do that is to know who's greeting Shabbat with us. So I encourage you, if you are sitting near someone you don't yet know, to introduce yourself, to wish them a Shabbat Shalom, to find someone who you don't know. If you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, to type a little Shabbat Shalom. And we also recognize that we have so many guests here at Temple Jeremiah tonight, not only with Gabby and Micah with our Erev B'nai Mitzvah, but also with our visiting teens from Israel through the ORT program, and with Erez, our photojournalist, who we've been watching and reading your photos for our entire High Holy Day season, for all of our Yamin Noraim, and now we get to see the person behind the camera. And in order to help us feel even more like we know the people around us, I'd like to invite Luann, one of our congregants who has helped bring these Israeli teens through ORT into this space and into this country, and to be able to give them that extra breath that they need. With a lot of help.
Good evening, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. I haven't been up here since my 40 and 37-year-old were bar and bat mitzvahed. I'm very happy to be here with all of you tonight, and I'm excited for you to meet our ORT staff and from around the world, and especially our ORT students from Israel. I'm involved in ORT because for over 100 years, ORT has always prepared students for a lifetime of success and a continuity of learning, no matter the challenging times. And certainly this last year has been fraught with challenges, particularly for our teachers and students in Israel. ORT recognizes the connection between emotional well-being and educational success. In response to the devastating effects of October 7th, World ORT Kadima Mad'a in Israel has been sponsoring respite trips called Journey to Renewal that provide essential respite and psychological healing for our Israeli students. The group that you see here today arrived Wednesday, and they've been exploring all the wonderful, wonderful things that our metropolitan area has to offer, with more to come. But they also have time participating in grounding sessions to regain moral clarity, to restore emotional stability, and to share where they are in the moment. To all of our guests, and here we go, to Lotem, and to Meor, and to Shachef, and to Shached, and to Vida, and Ephrat, and Barak, and Michael, and Rayut, and Ofer, and Noam, and Sharel, and Roi, and Moshe, and Mirav. I know that Temple Jeremiah welcomes you with open arms. My husband David and I chose to be members here over 30 years ago because of its warmth and inclusion and its ability to spiritually lift all of us up. So I know that Temple Jeremiah will welcome you with open arms, and Temple Jeremiah members, I hope that you will introduce yourselves during the Shabbat family dinner. Thank you.
And just to make sure that everyone has the right tools in front of them, we are in Chol HaMoed Sukkot, the Shabbat of Sukkot, and so to make sure that you have the correct prayer book, it should be the one that has 600-something pages and not 300-something pages. Thank you, Babette, for making sure that everyone has the right one. And the prayers are the same, we just add a little bit of extra special for Sukkot. We will begin on page 120 as we bring light and sweetness into this Shabbat moment. We invite Micah and Gabby and their families to help us with the blessings, page 120 and 123.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
L'chaim. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, God gives strength to your people. We gather for strength, we gather for celebration, we gather for support, for mourning and joy and sadness, all in the same moment. Adonai oz, page 137.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Try singing with me. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo.
We call to Shabbat and we call her our beloved. We say, Lecha Dodi, come into this space, come into this moment, come into our lives and into our souls. Lecha Dodi, page 38 and 39, verses 1, 2, and 9. 138 and 139.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת בלי תהילה. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. בואי ושלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, lekabela.
What better time than Sukkot to sing of palm trees and date trees and the produce that comes from the land of Israel? Psalm 92, our Shabbat psalm, at the bottom, the indented paragraph, Tzaddik Katamar, we all grow like the righteous, like the tamar, the date palm, page 140.
Tzaddik Katamar yifrach, ke'erez balanon
On this Shabbat, not only do we have the ability to welcome Shabbat, to welcome each other, to welcome future adults of our congregation, we also have the ability to welcome some birthdays. And so, Julie, I'd like to invite you forward because we want to celebrate your birthday with you. Birthday by association, if you would. So, Julie, you have come to this moment to celebrate, and you know that not every moment gets to be as celebratory as a birthday. You know that not every moment is as majestic as a Rosh Hashanah or a Yom Kippur. Sometimes we need to be a little bit more down to earth. And it works so well, in my opinion, that we get to celebrate you on Sukkot. Because after we've had all of the lofty and all of the really hard work of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we get to come together in temporary houses, in our Sukkots, share an important meal together, and really remember what it means to be friends. And in thinking about all of that and all of Sukkot offers to us, it really just feels so appropriate that we get to celebrate you during Sukkot. We talk about the lulav as these 4 parts of a person: the spine and the eyes and the lips, but most importantly, the heart. And I know that throughout all of these years, I should have asked before if I can say the number, but I won't until, throughout all of these 75 years, I know that you know how important that heart is, to be able to offer your full self to every moment, and to know that not every moment is going to be a moment in comfort. Not every moment is going to be one that you want to carry into the next year and into the next holiday. But every moment is important, and every moment is worth being remembered, and every moment helps us grow and helps us find our hearts. Every part of Sukkot, every part of the lulav, you echo. And it is such a blessing to be able to celebrate this moment with you, because the truth is, we become blessed through you. That we become blessed when we get to learn from you, and we get to be in community with you, and we get to share a meal with you, and we get to play cards with you, and whatever it is where we're in the same space, we get blessed because you're there. And it is such a wonderful way to be able to meet the Shabbat and meet this holiday, but most important, to be able to meet this year. Thank you for sharing your blessings with us. Thank you for supporting us when we need it. And thank you for letting us learn how to support you when you need it. Thank you for having a birthday. And it almost feels like that's a Shehechianu moment. It's a little hard to say, multisyllabic.
Yeah, it is. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
It feels Shabbat-y now, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So then let us begin the work of our souls with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, page 394. Please rise as you are able. Page 397, our reading for Sukkot at the bottom of the page, we read together. The colors of early evening sky blend and deepen, allowing new lights to be seen, twinkling through the branches, the promise that in darkness, new light will be revealed.
Baruch Ata Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim.
Page 399 at the bottom. Source of life, every year you plant within us a new tree of life. May it be your will that this year our Torah blossoms with kindness and not cruelty, with wisdom and not foolishness, awareness and not thoughtlessness. May you teach us a Torah of love so that will nourish us in every season.
Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot ayatecha vehayu letotafot beinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
Every Sukkot, we get to fulfill the mitzvah of hachnasat orchim, of welcoming visitors, strangers, friends into our Sukkot of Shalom, into the places that we build, however temporary they may be, that remind us that there are safe places in the world, most importantly because we find them with safe people. We ask God to help us find these Sukkot Shalom everywhere that we go, with whomever that we may go, and help those Sukkot be filled with love and understanding, with kindness and generosity. Every Shabbat, every day, every evening, we ask God to spread over us that Sukkah. Even though we know it might be temporary, it fills us with our strength to rebuild the Sukkah every evening. Page 409 and 408, the first few lines of the prayer and the last few lines of the prayer.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be
We turn to our Amidah beginning on page 468, and we invite up our Erev B'nai Mitzvah, Gabby and Micah, to help lead us in the first few of our prayers. Page 468, please rise as you are able.
Adonai sifatav tifta ufia gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zoher Hasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Le'oshia Morid Hatav Mechakel Harim Behesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Ve'Rofei Holim U'Matir Asurim Mekayem Munato Lishanei Afar Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melech Memit U'Mekayem U'Matzmiya Yeshua Neman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
Please be seated. At the top of page 473, we read responsively, Your might, O God, renews the earth. With dewdrops of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight,
let the earth rejoice and sing out.
With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved.
With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed.
Page 480. Our blessing of the Yamim Noraim, the holiness of these days. Cantor will lead us, and we will amen with full soul.
Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova.
Amen.
Ufokteinu vo livracha.
Amen.
Mehoshienu vo lechayim.
Amen. This day remember us for well-being.
Amen.
This day bless us with your nearness.
Amen.
This day help us to a fuller life.
Amen.
We take these next few moments for the prayers of our hearts and our souls.
Shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai yevarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai yevarech et amo.
We ask for God to give us strength, and so our prayers also turn to our communities and the individuals in our communities who could use some extra strength themselves. First, we have a prayer for Israel. We read on our screens responsively. Eloheinu v'Elohei imotenu v'avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the state of Israel and for all of Israel's inhabitants.
Mikor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them.
Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your path so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening.
Matir Asurim, freer of the captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts.
Ba'al Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people.
As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us your shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war.
And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. We also hold in our hearts and our prayers those who could use a little extra blessing of body or of spirit or of soul. And so I invite you, if you're joining us in our digital sanctuary, if there's someone whom you like to share a blessing for, a Misha Berach, to write their name into the comment section. And if you're joining us in our physical sanctuary, to rise as you are able and to say their name aloud. Thank you. 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 And we also hold in our hearts Gil Edelstein, Mike Byrne, Alan Terry Burke, Dee Bittman, Bobby Block, Reese Chan, Kathy Cohen, Ron Cohen, Sarara Kova, Tina Crane, Nella Davis, Arlene Drucker, Lila and Aaron Eckel, Arnie Fishbane, Lee Huber, Jim Clapman, Mark Pierce, Ronald Rubin, Bill Salerno, Jocelyn Snower, Patricia Weinfuss, Mark Weiss, Sam Weiss, George Wittenberg, and Franklin Wolf. Our Misha Berach prayer can be found on page 511.
We continue with those who sow.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. This holiday of Sukkot teaches us that each of us may sow in tears, may sow the seeds that will one day become someone else's blessings. Each of the moments of our lives, each of the moments of those who have come before us, have the potential to sprout into great blessing, have the potential to lead us towards living a life of blessing by living a life of legacy. In this moment of mourning, in this moment of memory, I invite anyone who is in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, anyone who is marking a yahrzeit, or thinking about someone who happens to come to mind in this moment, I invite you to rise and to say their name aloud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I invite anyone joining us in our digital sanctuary to write the name of someone whom you are thinking of into the comments section. This week, we mark the recent passings of Bill Brown and Jeffrey Glassman. And we mark the yahrzeits of Ted Ansel, Charles Arnold, Ben Bentkover, Harold Broadbar, Abraham Brown, William Selnick, Pearl Chardell, Leonard Chess, Francis Cohn, Earl Dolnick, Adrian Epstein, Sandy Arendt, Sylvia Fishman, Muriel Fisher, Lily Gelfand, Lee Grossman, Jerry Kaplan, Dorothy Kessler, Sarah Keston, Robert Miller, Bernice Middleman, Florence Chevy Mitzen, Shirley Rockoff, Pearl Rosenberg, Robert Sachs, Nathan Schneider, Richard Cecil, Sadie Simon, Richard Smith, Joseph Strauss, Emmanuel Viola, Gertrude Warsham, Elaine Weinstein, Samantha Wall, Dan Zussman, and Sylvia Zussman. And we remember all of those who have tragically died at the hands of war and terror. Our Kadisha Tome, our Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 598. Please rise as you are able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yotev yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon uvyomechon, uv'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmeid kudsha b'rechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, dat miram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronam levracha, may their memories forever and always be a blessing. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Here in our Chicago region, we are blessed with so many wonderful partners, so many organizations and people who help us learn about the world beyond these four walls, or many more than four walls of our synagogue, and be able to bring them into our community and be enriched by them. And one of those partners is really just down the road with the JCC. The JCC has helped us bring the Violins of Hope here multiple times in the last year, has helped bring the Humans of October 7th photo exhibit, and has helped bring Erez here. Erez is a photojournalist, and as I said before, is the man behind the camera of so many moments that have been captured through a lens. He studied journalism and international relations at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and then became a journalist for Channel 2 and for I-24 News in Israel. And He has always been a lover of photography and has taken his camera all over the world to India and the Ganges River, and has most recently settled in Tel Aviv to bring the humans of Tel Aviv to our screens and to all of these exhibits. And we know that the faces of Tel Aviv are not enough. So Erez has taken it upon himself to capture some of these most important moments of the last year, since Simchat Torah last year, to bring these faces and humans of October 7th into our world. And I want to take the opportunity to welcome him, but also to say that Erez has really taken it upon himself to capture as many moments as possible over the last year, from Israel, from Gaza, from these places that we've seen on our news reels and on our social media reels. And if it's too much, I want to invite you to take a step out because we know that it's been a hard year. It's been, I'm sure, very hard to take these photos, of which we'll have an opportunity to learn just how hard. But it's also been hard to see them and to put humanity into these images. And I want to give everyone that permission to care for themselves in these moments as well. And so I am very glad to be able to welcome Erez and to just share our gratitude for how much we have learned and how much we've grown by seeing even just a little piece of your full gallery. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Rabbi. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is not a formal speaking engagement. I'm going to speak with you and I'm going to show you pictures and stories from my project. This is actually an open conversation, so if you have something that you want to say or something that you want to add, feel free to barge in. We will have time in the end for a Q&A, but the whole purpose of this is that we can actually have a conversation. This is actually working, right? Still working, okay. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Erez Kaganovich. I was born and raised in Haifa, Israel. How many people here have been to Haifa? Raise your hand. Oh, that's great. Happy to hear that. I'm living in Tel Aviv for the past 12 years, and I'm a photographer and a storyteller, and I'm the human behind the Humans of Tel Aviv, Humans of Israel, Humans of the Holocaust, and unfortunately, Humans of the October 7 Project. So I want to give you a little bit of a background. Why did I even start a project called Humans of Tel Aviv? Basically, what I do in Humans of Tel Aviv was that I'm walking in the streets of Tel Aviv, and I'm engaging total strangers, and I start to ask them questions about their life, take their story, and upload it on social media. So far, I've captured more than 2,000 life stories. But why did I even start this project? Ever since I was a kid, I was mesmerized by different cultures and different languages. And I remembered that I told myself that when I will have enough time and enough money, I would probably hop on the first jet plane and I will go and travel and see the world. And I've been to India 5 times, and I've been to the States, and I've been to Europe. As I told you before, I've been to Dallas. It's a great city. And the thing is that most of the people don't realize that I'm coming from Israel. And that is probably because of my accent, which I acquired after watching endless episodes of Seinfeld and Friends. And when you're traveling around the world, what is the first question that probably somebody is going to ask you? Where are you from? And when I told people that I'm coming from Israel, you could actually see how their facial expressions started to change. Ah, you're coming from Israel. Isn't it a place where people are getting exploded all the time? Or are you coming from Israel? Isn't it a place where you're actually at perpetual war with your neighbors? And I remember that I told myself that if I had the ability back then to actually take those people back with me to Israel so they can see in their own eyes what Israel and Tel Aviv is all about, I don't know, maybe. Just maybe I would be able to change those misconceptions. But I couldn't do that. I actually wanted to make, taglit, to people to come to Israel, but I didn't have the funds. So I remembered that I learned basically that there are like 3 basic things that people don't really get about Israel. First of all, Israel is a democracy. It's still a functioning democracy. And in 2023, there was a lot of demonstrations, and I won't get into the debate about the power of balance between the Supreme Court and between the Parliament, but I would say that it was amazing to see so much Israelis, going to the streets and trying to defend their values and actually, fighting for democracy. It was pretty impressive. I had the privilege and the honor to work at the parliament in the Knesset. I was a spokesperson for several members of the Knesset, and one of the most moving sessions that I remember from parliament was a session in the education committee, and the title of that session was, "How can we make a safer environment in schools for transgenders?" Now, there's no way in the world that this kind of a conversation will be held in the parliament in Cairo, or in Beirut, or in Tehran for that matter. So that is pretty impressive when you think about it. Do you recognize this guy, or what he's actually holding? I hear USB, and I hear on the other side Discon key. So Discon key is probably people who came from Israel. So in Israel, we call it Discon key. And this guy is actually Dov Moran, and Dov Moran, he's the person that actually invented the USB. And I will give you a little bit of a background. Dov Moran, in 1999, he went to New York, and he had this huge presentation in front of this 200 Wall Street bankers, and he opened a computer, and you got to remember, this was before the times you could actually send like heavy files on the internet. But he opened a computer, and he was staring at the computer, and the computer was staring back at him, and then his computer crashed, and he had no presentation to show. And he told himself, he actually promised himself, this is going to be the last time that something like this will ever happen to him. And it took him around 2 years, and he actually created the Discon key or flash drive. Now, as an Israeli, when you're traveling around the world, you have this feeling that no matter what, everybody knows about the startup nation. Everybody knows about the Discon key. Everybody knows about, cherry tomatoes. Everybody knows about Waze. Everybody knows about Wix.com. But I didn't want to show in my project the startup nation. I wanted to show the diversity and the multiculturalism, the vibrant civil society that we have in Israel. Because when you think about it, Israel is very small. It's the size of New Jersey, but it's very diverse. And luckily enough, this guy came along, and actually, look at him. It looks like, he's on his bar mitzvah at this picture. And luckily enough, I know there's a lot of criticism in the last few years about social media, but when this guy came along and there was this explosion of social media, you had the ability to actually upload a picture and upload a story, and if that picture and that story is actually interesting, people will actually, engage with that. And luckily enough, I stumbled upon Humans of New York. Somebody here probably is familiar with Humans of New York? You in the back. What did you like about Humans of New York? Can you help me with a mic? Thank you, Rabbi.
What was it? The one thing I remember is that it was really a story of resilience. It was post 9/11, I think. And it just showed New Yorkers' resilience.
So it actually gave you a glimpse into the lives of people in New York.
Thank you.
So when I saw Humans of New York, that was like an eureka moment for me, because I realized that if I want to tell the Israeli story, this is exactly what I need to do. And I remember that I opened a Google search page, and I wrote Humans of Tel Aviv, and I was a little bit anxious because I didn't know if somebody else already understood the potential of creating a project like this. And before I started this project, I promised myself one thing. I'm not the Prime Minister's office. I'm not the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm not the Ministry of Tourism. I'm going to show the reality the way it is, and I'm going to let other people connect the dots for themselves. And so I created the Humans of Tel Aviv and Humans of Israel and Humans of the Holocaust projects later on. Now, I published this picture on the International Memorial Day of the Holocaust around 2016, and this picture actually went viral. And I remember that a lot of people, on the Facebook page actually ask, why are those young people actually tattooed a barcode on their wrists? And there was a lot of discussion on the Facebook page, and I remember that people started to realize what is the story behind the picture. And I got a lot of messages from the Arab and Muslim world, from people who actually told me, listen, this is the first time we ever heard about the Holocaust, and this is the first time we realized why the State of Israel was even established. And I was really moved, because I realized that I have the ability to better inform and to better educate people about the Holocaust. Now, I will give you the context of this picture later on, but I would like to ask you, and you got to remember, there's no right or wrong answers. Do you think this is a proper way to commemorate the memory of the Holocaust? Sorry?
It's difficult.
It's difficult? In which way?
It brings back the memory of people who have those numbers. It brings back the memory of the people that had those numbers.
But do you think this is a proper way to commemorate the memory of the Holocaust?
Probably.
Probably? But I see you're not 100%.
No, not 100%.
Why are you not 100%?
Because of its derogatory kind of connotation, I should say.
But don't you think that this way, they're actually reclaiming that symbol that turned the Jewish people into subhumans, and in a way like turning it upside down on its head?
Yes. The Holocaust to me, the thing that I remember about, I wasn't there, but is the people in the cattle cars. And the cattle car there is a Holocaust museum in Skokie that has a cattle car. And that's what comes to my mind rather than the numbers on the people. But
Okay.
that's my feeling.
I see somebody in the back who would like to add something. Go ahead.
I think it is a good way to represent, because the Holocaust is something we should remember for a long period of time and not like a little bit. So tattoos are something that can stay on you forever, which will remind people that the Holocaust is something very important that everybody should remember.
Well, that's a good answer. Thank you. So I will give you the context of this picture. In this picture, you can see the arms of Yosef Diamond grandkids who decided to commemorate his memory. And in the forefront of the picture, you can see the first arm with the number and the diamond. That's the hand of Eric, who was actually the grandkid of Yosef. And he came to his grandfather and he told him, listen, I have this crazy idea of actually tattooing your Auschwitz number on my wrist, because I think this will be a beautiful way to commemorate your memory and to keep the memory alive. And in the beginning, his grandfather, was taken aback. He didn't understand why he wants to take from his own free will the number that the Nazis forced him to. They actually tattooed it on his wrist, and to tattoo it on his wrist from his own free will. And they decided to think about it, and they met after 2 weeks. And the first thing that Yosef actually told his grandkid was, when your grandkid will actually see that tattoo, would you tell him about me? Would you tell him about the Holocaust? Would you tell him about our history, about our family history? And that was the moment where he actually realized that he's going to have the tattoo. And he was actually, later on, all of the grandkids decided to join in. Now, if you will take a closer look at the picture, you will see that when you have the number 6 over here, I don't know if you were able to see it, but it's actually also a Magen David. And you have a tiny diamond near that number, and that is because their last name is actually Diamant. And in German, diamond is actually a diamond. I never ever thought, yeah, sorry, you want to add something?
So with respect, I'd like to offer a countervailing perspective.
Of course.
So I have, this is just subjective, but I have two problems or two objections to those tattoos. The first is, according to Jewish law, tattoos are prohibited, they're prescribed, and they're regarded as graven images. And the second, more broader concern is something, problem I have with Holocaust education more generally, and that is we as Jews allow the bad guys, the Nazis, and all those who persecuted the Jews to sort of define the prism through which we see the Shoah. And you had said earlier that what we're trying to do is flip the obscene images that the Nazis imposed on us on their face. But we have a very rich history. We don't need to flip anything the Nazis imposed on us. We can embrace our own tradition, our own values, our own rich history, and there's no better way to do it than embracing Eretz Yisrael, which one of the greatest miracles in history that arose out of the ashes of the Shoah.
So first of all, I agree with you. There's a lot of debate, even in Israel, about if this is because, according to halacha, you're not supposed to have any tattoos. You're not supposed to harm your body. So there's a lot of discussion about this also in Israel. But I think about Holocaust education, and I will elaborate a little bit more later. It's actually about, your target audience that you need to think about. And if you want to better inform and to better educate people about the Holocaust, you actually have to engage the young generation. And actually, in 2019, I stumbled upon a survey that was conducted by the Claims Conference that showed that 66% of young millennials in the States never heard about Auschwitz, and that 50% of those young millennials could not even name one concentration camp or a ghetto. Now, those numbers actually send a shiver down my spine. And the thing was, that was only one part of the problem. The other part of the problem was the fact that there is a rise in anti-Semitism in the States. So you have this lethal combination between ignorance, and if you're not aware what are the consequences of being anti-Semitic, there's a rise in anti-Semitic attack. So it's a lethal combination. And I remember that, I was thinking about the fact that today we are living in a generation where you have so much information, this flow of information. And in the beginning, I was really angry about those young millennials, about the fact that, they were aware about what happened in Auschwitz. And I remembered that when I thought about it, I realized that I can't really be angry about them, because when I thought about it, when I was their age, I didn't want to have any connection to the Holocaust whatsoever. During Yom HaShoah in Israel, I would never, ever turn on the TV. I didn't want to see the bodies. I didn't want to see the atrocities. I didn't want to have any connection to the Holocaust. I never, ever thought of traveling to Poland for those educational trips. Now you got to understand my background. My grandfather was a Holocaust survivor. I'm Jewish. I grew up in Israel, which actually means you are hammered with Holocaust education. And still, I didn't want to have any connection to the Holocaust. So why would, let's say, somebody from Lexington, Kentucky would want to engage with that? And then I realized that we have to tell the story in a different way. It has to be optimistic. It has to be full of life. It has to be something that when people are actually, scrolling down their feed, the young generation, they will actually, when they will see an interesting picture and story, they will double-click, they will stop, and they will be able to be better informed and better educated. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this next picture. What do you think about this picture? Do you think this is a proper way to commemorate the memory of the Holocaust? And we'll give you the context later on. What do you think? Go ahead.
So I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Let me just say one more thing in response to what you just said. So studies on anti-Semitism have shown that the Jews who are accorded the most respect in the diaspora, in particular in the United States, are those Jews who are proud Jews, who are well-informed Jews.
Don't you think he is a proud Jew?
No, I'm talking in regard to the last discussion about the Shoah. So what I'm suggesting is the best way to combat anti-Semitism is to create a generation of proud and, most importantly, well-educated Jews, which is sorely lacking in America today. And then,
I totally agree with you, but I'm speaking about the target audience, because if we want to fight anti-Semitism, we have to get outside of the Jewish
I
community.
understand, but once if we go outside the Jewish community, we have to be able to marshal ourselves with knowledge and facts and understanding.
That's for sure. That goes without saying.
So that's where Jewish education and visits to Israel come in.
Totally agree. What do you think about this picture? Yeah, go ahead. You're in the front.
I guess that we, the generation that is alive, we should stand up